And we are live. You already know who it is. My name is Mike Kyle, aka the Fantasy Vulture. I have over a decade worth of fantasy football experience and have continuously competed for fantasy championships over the course of the past 6 seasons. Let's get 7 in 2020. But enough of me. I'm here for you. On today's episode of the FB Show, we are going to continue our Week 4 game previews, breaking down every single Week 4 matchup, all through the lens of fantasy football. Up next, the Seattle Seahawks versus the Miami Dolphins. If you're excited for this game preview, be sure to hit that like button down below like an open receiver downfield. Also, smash that subscribe button. Power running back style so you never miss a video from me. And last but not least, you can follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. I've been loving the interactions and conversations over on Twitter and Instagram. Just talking start-sit questions, trade offers, and anything fantasy football related. But let's dive right into the Seahawks and the Dolphins. So starting off, obviously, with some game notes, then we'll get into some start-sit questions. The over-under for this game is 53, so it's relatively high, all things considered. Again, the highest on the week is 56.5, with the Monday night game being the Falcons and the Packers. So this 53 over-under is pretty high, and I get why. And that's because these two defenses are not great by any means, and in fact, Seattle's defense looks abysmal. And Seattle's defense not only is bad, they are also extremely injured as well. They had over 25 players on their injury report this week. Things are not great in Seattle right now. But despite that, the Seahawks are still 3-0 with 3 really great performances led by the hashtag Let Russ Cook movement. Russell Wilson is absolutely balling out, but you guys already knew that, right? Chris Carson is still practicing right now despite that knee sprain. He's been practicing all week. He's been limited in that way, though. There is some uncertainty around his game status for this game versus Miami. I expect him to play. I don't know how much of a difference in workload he's going to get. I'm going to assume that Carlos Hyde is going to get some as well. But Carlos Hyde is battling an injury of his own and has also been limited in his own practices as well. But Russell Wilson, going back to him, 3 straight games with 30-plus points. He's been on fire and has probably been the fantasy football MVP if it weren't for Alvin Kamara. And honestly, you can make the argument where Russ is the number 1 player in fantasy right now. But moving over to the Dolphins, there is another player who is getting a ton of hype as well, and that is Myles Gaskin, right? I've already talked about how I whiffed on James Robinson, but if I whiffed on James Robinson, I hit a home run with Myles Gaskin and talking him up during the early parts of the season, and coming in last week with 22 carries, being the lead running back for the 3rd straight week, and really cementing himself as that guy for the Dolphins on Thursday night versus Jacksonville. Head coach Brian Flores came out and said that Gaskin is everything that the Dolphins want in a player and everything that they want a Miami Dolphins running back to be, right? So the hype for Gaskin continues to just go through the roof. If he's still on your waiver wire, you need to grab him right now. But moving over now to some start-sit questions here. Seattle, it's the same case as before. As for the first 3 weeks, we're going to bring it over to now 4 straight weeks. And that is start everybody. Chris Carson, if he's healthy, you're playing him. I don't care. I don't really care about the knee sprain all too much. If he's practicing, he can probably play through it. I'm sure they'll probably give him some sort of injection before the game that'll either numb it, or you guys know how all that stuff works. Russell Wilson, obviously an auto start. Lockett, Metcalf are up. Greg Olsen, maybe, if you want to take a flyer on the tight end position, but it doesn't look like that George Kittle is going to be back this week if you were the Kittle owner, so there's nothing to start him, or so there's no reason to start Olsen over Kittle in that way. Just, again, start your Seahawks. Please, it's worked out so well for you over the course of the first 3 weeks. Why would you go away from it in Week 4 in a great matchup versus the Dolphins? Carlos Hyde right now becomes more appealing as a flex option if Carson is out. But even still, I assume that if Carson plays, he'll probably be limited in some kind of way. And I would probably play Hyde almost regardless in this matchup if I have him, just as a flex, especially just due to the COVID game between the Steelers and the Titans. So if you need a start there, maybe you have A.J. Brown, James Conner, whoever you have, and you just need that flex spot. Carlos Hyde is a pretty good option for you this week. Moving over to the Dolphins, though, the Dolphins are sneaky starts all the way around, and I'm not joking. Here's why. I've already mentioned how bad Seattle's defense is, but here are the actual numbers behind that, okay? They are giving up 47.9 points per week to the wide receiver position. I'm going to say that again. 47 points to the wide receiver position weekly. That is unbelievable. That is unheard of. They've already given up over 1,000 yards. I want to pull the exact number here. They have already given up 1,300 yards to the wide receiver position. That is astronomical, and it's actually so astronomical. It's the worst start in NFL history for a defense against wide receivers. It's not even close. It's literally by the 250 yards. So there's your little fun fact for the day. So with that being said, you're going to start Davante Parker easily. Like, I feel like some people might get scared off of this matchup. No. You need to go all in with Davante Parker. I'd even start Preston Williams, who I've said I've been off of for a little bit. If you need a stream start because of AJ Brown, Juju, Deontay Johnson, whatever the case is, Preston Williams I think is a really good option. Isaiah Ford maybe even in a deep league. And even still, Mike Gesicki at tight end. And while that number doesn't apply necessarily to tight ends, the way that the Dolphins use Gesicki, especially in the slot and just even on the outside sometimes, Mike Gesicki is going to see the exact same opportunities as those Dolphins wide receivers against the Swiss cheese Seattle Seahawks defense. So I'm really excited to start all of those players. And I'm also, again, really excited to start Myles Gaskin as well. Not only because the volume is going to be there, but if this game does become a shootout in any way, or even if Seattle gets up big early, Gaskins is a great PPR guy, especially because of the high reception ceiling. Again, I've been through the numbers. He had 8 targets in one game, 7 in another, and he really is seeing the work out of the backfield in that way, and that's going to give him a nice floor week in and week out, especially in a matchup like this. And then lastly, Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'm willing to start him. If you are streaming quarterbacks, I think he might be the stream of the week, in all honesty. I've already talked about how bad, they are against wide receivers, Seattle. But how bad are they against quarterbacks? Oh, buddy, do I got a stat for you. All right, versus quarterbacks, they give up 28.7 points per game to the quarterback position. That is 31st. It is, they just get carved up. They just get carved up, and I actually think it's the reason why Let Russ Cook works so well this season, because if they want to compete, they have to air it out, and they have to be willing to throw the ball 30 to 40 times a game with Russell Wilson leading them down the field in that way, because if they can't hang points up, they're going to get killed weekly. So I love the Dolphins this week. I do. So I love the Dolphins. I love the Seahawks, and again, this just becomes another game of almost start everybody, right? I think this is going to be some of the themes for some of these teams throughout the season. Like Atlanta's going to be in that same category where no matter who's playing the Falcons, you're going to start them, and you're obviously starting the Falcons. With the Seahawks, it's the same thing. Maybe even the Cowboys as well. There are a lot of great offenses with just terrible defenses through the early part of 2020. And that's going to make fantasy football so much fun this season. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how these games play out. Thank you so much for watching this game preview between the Seahawks and the Dolphins. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. Let me know in the comments section who you are starting this week and who you are sitting. You can follow me on all social media platforms at FFVulture. And of course, you guys can find the playlist for all my other Week 4 game previews. Again, thank you so much for watching. Remember, people come and go, but fantasy championships are forever, and I will see you in the next video.